Good morning, everybody. My name is Matt Pearsall. I'm the community manager at Second Step Program and Committee for Children, and I am really glad to be able to join you all today with the third in our Meet the Makers series of videos, live stream videos. I'd like to begin with a land acknowledgement. Committee for Children's offices sit on the unceded traditional lands of the Coast Salish people, specifically the first people of Seattle, Washington, the Duwamish tribe. As we honor the Duwamish people and their ancestors, it's also important that we consider our place in the past, present, and future history of the indigenous peoples of our region, as well as how we can best support them. Thank you. Now, I'd like to start off our conversation by introducing to you today's guest, Dr. Tia Kim, who is our Vice President of, I'm going to mess this up, so I'm going to let you introduce yourself. What is your current vice presidency, Tia?
Hi, thanks, Matt. I am the Vice President of Education, Research, and Impact here at Committee for Children.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us today. We're going to be talking about, the official title is Designing Usable, Engaging, Research-Based Programs. But I think the thing that's come up a lot that I've heard kind of in what is in that is this idea of iterative design, an iterative approach to design. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about what that means. It's a little vague to me. I think it's a little vague to a lot of people. I'd really like to kind of dig into it a little bit.
Sure. I think there are lots of different frameworks and structures and processes that you could think of, but I like to think of it in the most simplest form of using lots of data across lots of different time points to help you in your development process as you're developing a program. So, for instance, it used to be in the past at Committee for Children, when we developed programs, we took multiple years and we took a research base and we used that research base to try to build the most engaging and effective lessons that we could. And then we put it out in the world. And then after that, we did a really large scale evaluation to see whether or not it was working to improve outcomes for kids. And that's a great approach, but I think where it lacks is that you don't, by the time you do that, you're kind of moving on to thinking about how to improve the program. And so the data that you're getting is a little too late. So the iterative approach is nice because it helps you continually improve as you're developing the program. And so as we were developing this program in this revision of our elementary school program, we used lots of different data sources. So we had teacher advisory groups from teachers from across the country, from various locales and different types of schools to give us input. We also did classroom observations. We've been working on this program for a few years. So before COVID, we were in the classrooms. We still can do observations virtually as well. And then we also collected a ton of teacher surveys, and we're constantly getting feedback. We still are actually getting feedback on our new program. And so all that feedback through the couple of years that we've been working on this has helped us to refine and improve the program to hopefully maximize impact and effectiveness of what we put out there for kids.
That's a lot of data.
Yes. I'm a researcher, so I like data.
So what happens to that? So teacher surveys and observations and focus groups. When you gather all this data, how do you kind of interpret it, and then how does it affect the development of the program?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's so much rich and great data, and it's affected how we've develop the program and what we're putting out there. But I can give you some really concrete examples. So for instance, a lot of our teachers in our teacher advisory groups were giving us feedback about how we should be adding perhaps some new content areas. So one of those was, for example, growth mindset. And so what you'll see in our revised elementary program is growth mindset. And they really pushed us to start teaching those skills at a very young age. So you see those skills being taught kindergarten through 5th grade. But another thing that we were learning is that people really wanted more differentiated content as kids were aging, right? So some of it seemed very repetitive as kids went from grade to grade. And so we tried to be a lot more developmentally appropriate. So using that growth mindset example again, how we teach it to kindergartners is very, very different than how we teach it to 4th and 5th graders, as it should be. And they also pushed us to think about pedagogically how we could be more developmentally appropriate. So for instance, for kindergarten or first graders, maybe doing some more songs and calls and responses, but maybe for fourth and fifth graders, having them think, using their cognitive skills a little bit more and thinking more deeply about how they might be proactive in solving perhaps stressful situations they might be in, or incorporating more discussion, things like that. And then of course, another thing that we learned very earlier on is that the lessons probably had to be shorter, because teachers, as we know, don't have a lot of time, and particularly for really young kids, because kindergarten, first grade teachers said they can't, it's very hard to keep the group classroom focused for like 30 minutes. So we intentionally tried to keep our lessons shorter. And then we also, which I can go into more, we worked very closely with a culturally responsive teaching consultant. And so we got a ton of feedback about how to make our content and lessons more culturally relevant. So that was really good feedback that we got as well. So there's a lot more than that, but that's just a few snippets of it.
Yeah. So what was some of the how did the feedback you got from the culturally responsive education consultant, how did that change the program? Because that's something we hear a lot from in our community and from educators in general, that this is a big focus for them.
Yeah, and as it should be, and it's been a really big focus in the development of this program, of our elementary program. We worked with Dr. Roderick Kerry. He's from the University of Delaware. His research and practice has really been focused on education and school experiences, particularly of young men of color. And so he's been great asset to the group working on this program. He reviewed much of the content. He co-developed some of the content. And most recently, he's been having biweekly meetings with the program development group, really, talking about cultural relevancy and cultural responsiveness and how we can do that better. I think of those meetings as more of professional development and growth for the group that's working on the program. And so we incorporated a lot of the feedback that he provided. Again, there's so much to go over, but I think some concrete examples is really being able to bring in student voice a little bit more and to reflect the diversity of experiences that many of our students across the country experience, and bringing that in to the lessons and giving opportunities to do that. I think another thing that we've thought about is how to have both an individualistic and collectivist lens as we think about the skills that we're trying to teach kids. So for instance, not only thinking about you as an individual, how you're going to solve a problem, but how you as an individual can solve a problem with the group and for the group, for the larger group. So for instance, in fifth grade, in our empathy lessons, we teach fifth graders how to use empathy to solve a community problem and to come up with solutions that benefits everyone in the community. So really thinking from a community and group perspective as well. And again, there's lots of other things that we've done, but that's just a few examples of how we've really taken the feedback from Dr. Kerry and incorporated it into our lessons.
Cool. So the new digital K-5 program it's launching next month. It's coming up really soon. So what does the future hold for this? So this sounds like a really in-depth process, very kind of, really spending a lot of time working on the program to get it ready for this point. What carries forward? What is the next step for you and your team and all the research work that you're doing?
Yeah, so I think really one of the strategic visions at Committee for Children for all our programs is this idea of continuous improvement. And again, like I said at the beginning, this iterative design really helps us to do and continue continuous improvement. So we have plans to collect data even as soon as it launches. The next school year, we're coming up with a data plan, and all that data that we collect, that we'll continue to collect, will then be considered into how we adapt and improve the program to have maximum impact for all the kids that the program is serving. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're really concerned about. And so we will continue to improve it. And a digital program makes it much, much easier to collect data and make changes and respond to that data more quickly. So that's really, really exciting. On top of it, just being really exciting that the program is launching soon.
So I've got one last question for you. Something I've been asking everybody who's involved in the launch of the new K-5 program. Just what's your favorite or one of your favorite parts of the program or things? It doesn't have to be big, just something little. What's something that puts a smile on your face when you think about it in the program?
I would have to say there's lots of things, but I would actually say I am really looking forward and excited to see brain builders.
Mm-hmm.
So brain builders, for those of you that don't know, are just short activities to help increase executive functioning skills. And we made them digital. Again, we made them digital because of feedback from teachers that said that sometimes it was really hard to do the activities and the games in the classroom, particularly making them more challenging. And so we took that away by making them digital. And I know, because this has been an iterative process, when we first thought about making them digital, it was a little hard to think about. And so they have been really worked on and really improved over time. And I've recently seen some finished brain builders, even did it with my own kids, and they're fantastic. And they were super engaging. Even my middle schooler liked them. And I think engagement is super important and key to learning. And so I'm excited to have that aspect part of the program. And executive functioning is very, very important for
Mm-hmm.
kids. So that's exciting.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been great to hear from you, and I know on behalf of everyone in our Second Step Educators community and out in the Twitterverse who are watching right now, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Sure, very excited to join all of you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks. And this isn't the end. I want to let you guys know we are going to be doing one more thing coming up here next week. We're going to actually be doing something special. We're going to be live streaming our webinar that we're going to be introducing our new K-5 program. So you'll be hearing about it here and there. We have a new digital K-5 program that's launching in the middle of March. And next week we are going to be live streaming the first of our webinars talking about it. So you'll be able to watch it right here. Wherever you are watching right now, you will be able to watch it right here. And be able to see and learn in depth about our new programs that we've got coming out. Not just the K-5 program, we've also got other new programs coming out as well. New program SEL for adults, our out of school time program, a lot of new revisions to our middle school programs. We'll be talking about a lot of the new stuff that's available right now. But until then, thank you all very much. Take care, stay warm, stay dry, stay healthy, and we'll talk to you all next week.